Hello guys, myself Sayuka Shah. I will be teaching you business economics of first year semester 2. So we shall be seeing in this about macroeconomics. How does macroeconomics deal with what all factors does microeconomics deal? So let us start and let us go through the syllabus. So, in our syllabus, we shall be studying about various things. The first chapter which we shall be studying is cost and revenue. Now, cost and types of cost. In that, economic cost, accounting cost, private cost, and social cost, actual cost, and opportunity cost, explicit cost, and implicit cost. So we shall be seeing each of them in detail. Then next we have relationship between total cost, average cost, and marginal cost. Then we shall be studying about cost curves in short run and long run. Then concept of total revenue, average revenue, and marginal revenue. So all these things we shall be studying in this subject. Then pricing under perfect market conditions, pure competition meaning and features. Then features of perfect competition, price determination in perfect competition, and equilibrium of firm and industry in short run and long run. So these are the two chapters firstly which we shall be studying. First shall deal with costs and revenues of different costs. Then next we shall be studying about pricing under perfect competition. After that we shall be studying under imperfect market conditions. Now what do we have? Meaning of imperfect competition. What do you mean by imperfect competition? Then next we have monopoly features and equilibrium, price discrimination, monopolistic competition, then oligopoly, duopoly, and comparison between perfect competition and imperfect competition. Then next we have factor pricing, marginal productivity theory of distribution, rent meaning Ricardian theory of rent, modern theory of rent, concept of quasi-rent. Wages, meaning and types of wages, minimum wages, money wages, real wages, subsistence wages, fair wages. Backward bending supply curve of labor, role of collective bargaining in wage determination, interest, meaning loanable fund theory, liquidity preference theory, profit, meaning risk, uncertainty theory of profit, dynamic theory of profit. So these are the chapters and basic concepts which we shall be studying. So let us start with the first chapter. The first chapter which we shall be studying is cost and revenue. So let us study various costs and revenue. Now in the first chapter, what all we should be studying? Firstly, we should be studying about concepts and types of cost. So let us understand what are the different types of cost and what all can be done. So in this, firstly we should be studying concepts and types of cost. During the process of production, a number of factors, both fixed and variable, join hands. These factors are available at the price. Expenses incurred on the factors of production are known as cost of production. So firstly, we shall understand that how cost of production is calculated on every goods or things that are produced. So firstly, at what prices the factors are available, then what all are the expenses that we incurred in process of getting those products for preparing our finished product. So let us understand about this. Then the expenses incurred on factors of production are known as the cost of production, or in short, the cost. On the other hand, producer receives payments for the sale of goods produced. Such sale proceeds are referred to as revenue in economics. So, we shall be understanding more about these things in the chapter. Then, now what do you mean by cost analysis? How is cost analysis done? The accumulation, examination, and manipulation of cost data for comparisons and projections is known as cost analysis. So firstly, what do? They accumulate the data, then they examine it, then manipulation of cost data for comparisons and projections. That is, they will remove every cost details, how many units can be produced from the entire thing, and projections. So these all things are done in this, and this is called as cost analysis. The aim of the producer is to maximize his profits. Since profit is the difference between revenue and cost, profit maximization amounts to maximization of difference between revenue and cost by incurring revenue and lowering cost. While the level of revenue is primarily determined by the market factors, the cost can be brought down either by producing the optimum level of output using the cost combination of inputs, or by increasing factor productivities, or by improving the organizational efficiency. A profit maximizing firm needs to monitor revenue and cost continuously. Thus, the concept of cost and revenue are very important in price theory. So now, what is the aim of any business? The aim of any business is to maximize their profit. So for maximizing profit, what can be done is that there will be difference between revenue and cost, which will lead to profit maximization. Lower the cost of production, higher is the profit for the entrepreneur. So it is very important to lower the costs whichever are going to be incurred in the production of a product. A profit maximizing firm needs to monitor revenue and cost continuously. Thus, the concept of cost and revenue are very important in price theory. They exhibit not only the profits or losses earned by the firm, but also help in price and output determination. A rational producer the production decision through the cost and revenue analysis. So what does this do? For the purpose of price theory, it is very important to know the concepts of cost and revenue, and they exhibit not only the profits or losses, but they also help in determination of output cost of each unit. So it is very important that the price theory is properly known. Cost of production provides the floor to pricing. So basic cost of production produces a floor for pricing the products. It helps the managers to take correct decisions, like which price to quote, whether to place a particular order for inputs or outputs, no, inputs or not, whether to abandon or add a product to the existing product line, whether to expand or contract production, whether or not to use idle capacity, whether to buy a manufacturer or manufacture a product. So when there is a big factory, when there is a factory of producing certain products, so what do? They first find out the cost, and then they try to analyze which all inputs are required, that is what all raw material is required. Then from the raw material they will decide how much they need, whether it is required to produce, or whether they can buy it from another manufacturer, or they can produce it in their own capacity, or they try whether they can use it for some other reason. So what do they do? For example, if you all know that Cadbury earlier used to give a golden color foil in all the dairy milks, whether it was a 5 rupees dairy milk, whether it was a 10 rupees, whether it was a 50 rupees, whether 100, any cost, they used to give a golden color foil in the which the chocolate used to be wrapped. But then they realized that it is giving maybe it had very minimum cost, but minimum cost led to maximum output. That is, the one foil costed very low, but calculating the cost of all the produced Cadburys led to the understand them that it is becoming overcost. So what they decided to do is they decided to minimize the cost, and they removed the silver foil. Nowadays they hardly give silver foils in some of the dairy milks. So this is how companies decide to cut on the cost of production, and even they have now made the Cadbury smaller. So this is how they cut the cost of production to maximize their own profits. Now next we have production function as such does not reveal anything about the economic aspect of costs and price. Once prices of factors, inputs are known, the technological relationships implied by the production function can be used to derive the cost functions. Hence, the theory of cost is a restatement of the theory of production in monetary terms. So, production does not reveal any economic aspect of costs and prices, but one factor input reveals the whatever the monetary cost can be, because producing 1 unit and producing 10,000 units, the cost will differ, and so it is very important to know input cost for each and every product which is being used. Here we consider the cost of the hence the theory of cost is a restatement of the theory of production in monetary terms. Here we consider the cost of production of the firm. Firms must pay careful attention to the cost, because every unit to increase in cost reduces the firm's profit. But costs are important in economics for a deeper reason. Firms will decide how much of goods to produce and sell depending on the price and the cost of the goods. More precisely, supply depends upon incremental or marginal costs, and the dependence of supply decisions on cost is true not only for perfect competitors but also for firms in the vast terrain of imperfect competition. Whatever the market structure, whether perfectly or imperfectly competitive, marginal cost is a key concept for understanding a firm's behavior. It is necessary to understand different cost concepts and their relevance or irrelevance in the decision making. So here we consider the cost of production of the firm. Firm must pay proper attention to the cost of each unit. That is, increase in the cost reduces firm's profit. If in case we are buying certain goods at 10 rupees and the same goods become 12 rupees. So in that case, the 2 rupees which is there is going to lead to increase in the cost of production, which is going to in return lead to lesser amount of maximization of profit. Hence, we need to understand that how cost allocation has to be done to different aspects which we are going to use in the production of our finished product. So, let us understand different types of cost. Now, cost classification on the basis of economic concepts. Demand estimation and forecasting demand in the future are no doubt two main problems in decision making by the executives of the business firm. So, demand estimation and forecasting of demand is not very easy. These are the two problems in decision making by executives of the business firm, because you never know that maybe the demand for these things will increase. So now during the time of pandemic, we have seen that the demand for masks, the demand for sanitizer, the demand for face shields has increased with a great importance. But before the time of the pandemic, we have seen that hardly only the people who are into hospitals, nurses, staff, and who are doing all these things used to wear masks. But today, every person whom you will see is wearing mask. So that is why it is something which we cannot estimate. Did anyone know that these masks would be so much in demand when the pandemic started? No, but this is how it is very difficult for the people to analyze or to provide an estimate that how much demand will be there for their product in the future. But there is another area more complex and complicated, which is of great concern to marginal economics, which is the cost of production. Profit is the difference between the total cost and total revenue. Total revenue can be estimated by multiplying the total quantity of the output sold by its price. Total output into price. It is not so simple with cost. Some costs vary with output. Some are fixed, yet some are hidden. Some costs are not recorded in the books of account, yet they are to be taken into account. These are opportunity costs, also called as implicit costs. Making of effective and right decisions depends much on the proper calculation of the cost. If different types of costs are not properly understood, the managerial decisions are bound to be wrong and misleading. So as we know that costs may vary with output. So some of the costs are fixed costs and some of the costs are hidden costs. Some of them are not recorded, some of them are taken into consideration, some of them are not even taken into consideration. So making of effective and right decision depends upon calculation of cost. The way you calculate cost, the way you analyze your product, it is going to have maximum profit, because input cost, output cost and the profit are three important aspects how you grow your business. So now first let us study about some different types of costs. If different types of costs are not properly understood, the marginal decisions are bound to be wrong and misleading. So in that first we have historical cost or sunk cost and replacement cost. Historical costs are the costs of an asset purchased in the past at the then prevailing price. They are regarded as sunk costs. As they cannot be retrieved from the business without losses, sunk cost is an economic term for a sum paid in the past which should be no longer relevant. Hence, these costs are irrelevant in decision making with the perspective of time. So, some of the costs, historical cost or sunk cost and replacement cost. This is a cost for which we have paid for purchasing a asset in the past and the then prevailing price. That is, suppose for producing producing a Cadbury, we have purchased a machine which what it does, which takes raw material and converts it into finished product and supplies it. So every time when I am calculating the cost, I shall not need to add the cost, but it is a historical cost, that is I have taken it for one time and which I shall be using until and unless it doesn't stop working. So this is how cost is calculated. However, replacement of an the cost of assets is shown at their historical price in the conventional financial accounts. When the old asset wears out, it has to be replaced by a new one. However, replacement of an asset has to be done at the current price, which may be different from the price at which the asset was originally purchased in the past. Therefore, replacement cost is defined as the cost to be incurred for replacing the same asset at current prices. If the prices remain stable over a considerable length of time, the historical and replacement cost will be on par with each other. But as we know, the prices of goods keep on increasing. Hence, the replacement cost may be much more than the historical cost of the book value of asset. Suppose, so now let us try to understand with a small example that how cost of production, that is historical cost, changes in case we are replacing a machine with a new one. So suppose the book cost of the machine is rupees 1000. The price at which the machine was purchased in the past, say 3 years ago. This is its historical cost. However, if the current market price of the machine is 1100 and if the machine is to be replaced by a new one, the firm has to pay 1100. Hence, the replacement cost of the machine is 1100. While projecting future cost, it is necessary to take into account the replacement cost of the asset rather than historical cost. So, for the purpose of projecting cost in the future, it is very important to have to take into consideration about the replacement cost of the asset rather than the historical cost. Historical cost of a plant or machine is used for accounting purpose, and replacement cost at the current price plays a vital role in business decisions regarding future projects. So historical cost is used for the accounting purpose and it is used in the current price. It is plays a very important role in business decisions regarding the future projects. So this was about historical cost or sunk cost. Now let us understand the second concept, that is private cost and social cost. Private cost, it is a producer's or supplier's cost of providing goods or services. It includes internal costs incurred for inputs, labor, rent and depreciation, but excludes external costs incurred such as environmental damage. Private cost is the cost borne by an individual or firm directly involved in the transaction. So while producing, I cannot include my rent or include my labor or include my input cost, that is the transportation cost or depreciation. All these things need to be excluded. All these things need to be considered, but they cannot be always considered. The external cost, that is the environmental damage, is one thing which we never consider. So private costs are generally borne by the individual firm or directly involved in the transactions. So next we shall be understanding, after private costs, now next we shall be understanding about social costs. Social costs of a firm are those that the society in general has to bear because of the firm's activities. Population caused by industrial waste and emission is a typical example of social cost. Social cost has two components: private cost of the firm, social cost paid by the society. The increasing awareness of social costs in the corporate section has given rise to the concept of corporate social responsibility. Parks maintained by industries, community projects and relief works undertaken by corporates during natural disasters such as earthquakes and floods are classic examples of CSR exhibited by corporate houses. So the corporate social responsibility is one of the very important aspects which is to be considered by corporate sectors. What does this mean? That the company, since the business is going to lead you to profit. Now who is going to give you these profits? Your society. So if you are using raw material from the society, you are liable to pay back something to the society. So for the purpose of paying back to the society, we have introduced this concept called as corporate social responsibility, under which industries, what they do is industries, community projects and relief works are undertaken, and if there are in case any natural disasters, earthquakes, floods, or during this pandemic, we have seen many big companies such as Wipro, Tata, Jio, Ambani's, they all have come forward and they have helped towards our responsibility towards the society. So they have helped by providing beds, they have provided with oxygen, they have done endlessly for the people. Why they have done all these things? They have done all these things only for the well-being and paying back to their own nature, who has given them so much, who has made them so much, who has built them so much. So this is about social cost. Now next we shall be studying about direct cost and indirect cost. There are some costs which can be directly attributed to the production of a unit of a given product. Example, cost of labor, raw materials and machine hours required to produce a unit output. Such costs are direct costs and can be easily separated, ascertained and be imputed to a unit of output. This is because these costs vary with the output units. However, there are other costs which are not separated and clearly attributed to the individual units of production. Example, expenses on accounts of fuel and power, office and administrative expenses and depreciation of plant and equipment. These costs are classified as indirect costs or overhead costs in the accounting process. If the cost is separable per unit of output, it is direct cost for the accountant, and if it cannot be separated per unit of output, then it is an indirect overhead cost. So direct costs and indirect costs are those which are directly attributed to the production of a unit or a given cost. So direct cost means those costs which can be separated on per unit of output, and indirect costs are those which cannot be separated on per unit, hence they are called as overhead costs. So for a business, it is very important to have direct costs and indirect costs, to know which are directly used costs and some of the costs are indirect costs. So we have to understand that expenses, certain expenses like expenses on account of fuel and power, office and administrative expenses, and depreciation of plants and equipment. So these are the costs which are indirect costs. So these costs are generally not calculated on the products which we are producing. So this was about certain costs. Now in the next class we should be studying real costs and actual costs. Hope you all have understood whatever I have taught. Once again go through the video and try to understand the concepts which I have explained. So with this we end our session. Thank you.